Hi, welcome to Cinema Journal, and this is my first impression of the final chapter of the cinematic Wolverine story, Logan. Set in the near future, Logan, aka Wolverine, played once again by Hugh Jackman in his final performance of the iconic comic book character, is getting weaker as his healing powers begin to wear off with his old age finally catching up to him. With the X-Men decimated and the mutants more or less becoming extinct, Logan works as a limo driver on the Mexican border while looking after the frail and mentally unstable Professor Charles Xavier, played once again by Patrick Stewart, away from humanity to live the rest of their days in relative peace. But all that changed with the appearance of a little girl named Laura, or X-23 for all those comic book fans, who shared the same mutant powers as our lovable vicious mutants, including having claws of her own, and being chased by a special task force of a company that specializes in creating mutants for military purposes. With the Canadian border as her destination, Logan reluctantly accepts the deal of taking her there and is thrust into one last adventure that could give him some sort of meaning to his long existence. Having announced that this film will be his final portrayal of the Wolverine, Logan will be Jackman's ninth film that has spanned 17 years, making him the most prolific actor for a single comic book character. Whether they be great films or not so great films, I have always found his performance of the powerful but troubled mutant consistent with his humor, angst, and viciousness, so it will be a bittersweet moment for so many people who have grew up with him as the character. And the trailer itself has gotten people excited of the film taking a different route in its tone, and knowing that it will be rated R, a first for this character, I did wonder if we are seeing the next step in the evolution of the genre. Admittedly, I am getting tired of seeing a lot of superhero films and television series that it is now feeling like it's getting a little bit oversaturated. I guess it has to do with the fact that I've never heard of many of these characters before, but I have known about the X-Men for about as long as I've known of Batman, tracing my exposure all the way back to the animated series from the 90s. So of course I will be excited and wanting to see this over everything else. And what I got with Logan is a movie that is tight with his story, honest with his characters, and as brutal as its rating promised, more so than I anticipated. Just as the movie starts, already it wants to show Wolverine killing people, but not like how you saw from his previous films, as we get to see limbs being chopped off and blood flying everywhere with each stab of his claws. It lets you know that this isn't the Wolverine film that you have been accustomed to, and considering who we are talking about here, this just seems like almost a no-brainer. But it's not just the added graphic violence that is the only change. The whole feel of it is different, giving off a more independent look rather than the big budgeted spectacle that is normally associated with this genre. Wolverine, as I feel as portrayed by Jackman, always comes off as someone who is rather cocky, but still have a lot of sensitivity, as he would have difficulty trying to form any sort of meaningful relationship with anybody given his long violent life. Here, much time has passed and it has not been kind to him, with his healing powers degrading, signaling him of his approaching death. Alone and having to take care of Professor X out in the middle of the desert, Logan is shown more as a down-on-his-luck homeless person than a superhero. In fact, the film makes a point of him being such an unlikely superhero that is apart from what we constantly see in other films. He often drinks and murders people because of his powerful rage, acting out more on his basic survival instincts like an animal. In his mind, he knows that better than anyone and will reject if suggested otherwise. Jackman shows a real maturity with the character that he has grown to know over the last 2 decades, and he gives it his all, treating his subject with respect and responsibility as if he is basing on a real-life person. Stewart is humorous as a crazy old man, but there is a deep sadness with him, and to see such a likable character at the lowest point of his life as he approached the end is almost heartbreaking to watch. The rest of the cast, from big to minor roles, all give their all and play their parts perfectly, especially that of the little girl, Daphne Keane, as X-23. If you thought that Wolverine was going to be the violent one, you haven't seen anything yet. I don't think I've ever seen a kid kill as many people as this little girl did in a movie, and it is glorious to watch. This is a film that has stepped away from the usual trope and decided to take on a more personal touch with its story. The pacing is great, and I never got bored as the story kept me engaged as it unfolds, sometimes to points where it just gutted me hard. Its action sequences are bloody and furious that is balanced with its quieter moments. Even with Jackman gone, Wolverine will return with a different actor, But man oh man, what a perfect way to end a legacy, and it being possibly my favorite X-Men film after X2. And with time and a couple more showings, this could actually join my list of favorite films.
The only thing that's real, the needle tears a hole